Hello, everybody. This should be working now. Back again, of course, for the 26th episode of the Dragon Ball Legends podcast. Just a quick audio check. Make sure you can hear me, chat. Let me know in chat if you can hear me and everybody else. We'll do a quick little audio check. And with that, give it over to Pomzor. Take the floor here.
Thanks, Nas, and welcome back, everybody, to Dragon Ball Legends podcast, episode 26. 26, yeah, I cannot speak. 26, hashtag Krillin it. And, today, as always, we want to start with saying, hey, type !Linktree in the chat to make sure to follow us on all our social media presences. Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, TikTok, and all the other stuff that I'm forgetting right now. And, pretty much I'm joined today by Bradical.
What up?
We also have a special guest because, it's Krillin Zenkai, so who better to talk about Krillin than DFree, DBZ HD, 1080p, 4K.
You forgot the 4K Blu-ray, all that.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, my bad. XL square.
Plasma. Yep.
Exactly.
Oh my God, plasma. Yeah. Thanks for having me on, guys. I appreciate it.
And of course, we have the homie Goresh.
What is going on, guys?
We have our producer Nastarachi.
Hello, everybody. And speaking of which, Pom, you may consider backing your mic away from your mouth by like half an inch because it sounds like...
Yeah, just put that in the chat. Yeah.
I like eating it.
Yeah, it sounds like you're all up in that mic.
Okay. We are also joined by our equipment fanatic, Professor Sensei.
Hello.
And Swift.
Yo.
So today's topics, of course, we will talk not just about Krillin Zenkai, but we'll also talk about the new Step Up banner, about the new units. Also, Super 17 has his Zenkai announced, and we'll see if we can have a look at that raid. But we're going to start off with the Step Up banner, of course, and I'm going to hand it over to you, Brad. What are your experiences with that banner? How do you like it?
I'm not the biggest fan, but it also, I'm kind of sick and tired of seeing Vegito blue everywhere, to be 100% honest. But at the same time, he is good, and I guess it's solid for new players. But looking at the drop rate, I didn't even look at it before I summoned, because I don't normally... Because I'm going to summon either way, so it's like, oh no, the banner's terrible. I guess I'm going to summon, so... that's how it goes. But taking a look at it, I'm not a big fan of this format with the 0.25 on some of these guys. I like that Rose is 0.5. That's good. Trunks of Mai being the only 1% unit. And then you got 0.15 on all these miscellaneous units that have come out the last couple months. And I'm just not a big fan of that format. But again, it's the same thing we always say. If you were newer, I could see it being okay. You know, if you weren't around to get Lavender, Basil, Bergamo, and you needed those guys to build a team, it's good they're at least here, on those tickets and everything. But I'd like to see priority on units that are a little bit newer as opposed to, you got Broly. I can't argue that. Broly is on there. But I don't know. That's my personal experience. I'm not a gigantic fan of the setup. What do you guys think?
I just have more of an issue with the format that they removed all featured units from the banner, right?
Yeah.
I guess you could kind of say that Beerus, Vegito Blue, and Beerus are somewhat featured, but they don't have, any change in their rates, so the likelihood of getting one of them is still astronomically low. And then you only have Rose and Trunks as featured units, so based on the fact that you could get anything off this banner, the chances of you getting a consolation prize that's actually useful to you is very low, because I pulled lots of red Pikkon and yellow Zenkai Frieza on this banner. So yeah, I think that overall kind of hurts the overall value of summoning on this banner, of course, unless you get super lucky. So I don't know, I didn't really like that too much. And then the tickets are always pretty bad, because the pool is just ridiculous. So
Yeah, I think when you take a look at the banner itself, it's the one thing that you could say about it is that it's so hard to pinpoint certain units you want to pull, besides the new Trunks and Mai, because they're the only unit that has a 1% rate on this banner. If you compare this banner directly to the LF Future Gohan banner, you could see they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 featured units that are all on the future team. So it's a lot easier to build a team directly from that banner as opposed to this one where it's just a shotgun blast and you're just gonna get a bunch of random units. You can't really pinpoint that.
Yeah, I pretty much agree. I don't know why they're changing this on the fly, seemingly. I can get it to a degree where they're switching up the entire premise of it, when they changed the ticket banner. I don't really like it at all, but the caveat, like Brad said, is if you're new, blah blah. you didn't get these characters. It's really good for you. But it seems like they're changing this very, very often. So this banner overall, don't really like it at all personally, even though the roster is pretty good.
Yeah, I agree.
I see what they were going for. Like, I get it. You know, the new units are the featured units. You have a higher chance to get that. Rose is, like, technically speaking, is he the second highest pull rate?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
But that's
I
how it
see
should
what
be
they're
for a new
going
character.
for.
I don't want to applaud them
I
for
agree.
that.
Yeah, there shouldn't be some special, oh, look what we did for you kind of thing. But I don't know. It's really funky. And it's just, they've been doing this for years, though. I mean, ever since pretty much Goten came out, the LF one, they've been changing up these step-ups pretty consistently.
Yeah, but in
on
the middle
how
there, they
work.
found consistency for a long time.
Yeah, the Super
And then
Saiyan.
they were like, nah, we don't like that.
The original Super Saiyan
Yeah.
4 step up was amazing. Like,
Yeah. Some of those were really good. And they just keep getting worse.
I think
I
a
mean-
lot of it has to do with the fact that it might have been too good for them. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, remember when you could only pull Beerus off tickets?
yeah, Gohan.
Yeah, and
also.
Gohan too. Gohan was subject to that as well.
Yeah, ticket.
Yeah, and was it, but
But the
wasn't it like
pull
10
rate-
or 20%?
Yeah,
The
it
pull
was
rate
like
was so
20%.
much higher though.
Yeah,
so
Yeah.
you pick your poison, right?
I like
Yeah.
the old system because well, at least the tickets of the old system. I'm sure
Yeah.
someone could whip out a calculator and say that my chances were actually lower, but I mean, it was super exciting every time I had a ticket. It felt like this big momentous occasion was going, all right, guys, this is the ticket summon when we went into it. Now a ticket summons are like, all right, what junk am I getting, right?
Yeah, I miss the old tickets so much. Wasn't it like 15% for the new character and then like 5% for the new LF or something
It's
like
like
that?
20% for the new character, but you needed 5 tickets, which is pretty much rotation on the banner to give you one real shot at it. And that's where the real
Yeah.
frustration came in, because you come and you do this full rotation, especially if you're free to play and you saved up all those crystals. You got one shot and then nothing, right? So, I don't know. I people like the little shots every single time they summon.
I think the best
I'll
format.
never forget
Oh, go ahead.
when they did. I don't know who's. I think it was UI's banner. Whenever this was like first introduced, I don't know if that was UI's banner or what. But I did the 10 ticket pull, and my game crashed. So I'm like, okay, maybe I got lucky, right? And I go check the summon history. There is six copies of the purple Super Saiyan God Goku. I was like, what the? How does this even happen?
Yes, no, my
That
god,
must
no,
have
that
been like
Goku
the Broly
Vegeta.
or Gogeta banner, I think.
Yeah, I was like, how did this
I-
even happen, man? It doesn't even make any sense.
No,
So
that was
that's
UI
just
banner.
epitomizes like what these tickets have become now, to where the pool is so different, the rates are so different versus what they were, where I thought they found consistency for a long time. But like Raresh said, maybe it was a little too nice. So I don't know.
I think a hybrid of the two systems might be like the best way. Like maybe you could still summon the LL unit on the banner, but they bump it down to the 0.25% rates. But then the tickets, you get like a 15% chance to pull in. It's like some middle ground has to be a good compromise, right? I don't know. They can still do
Yeah.
whatever they want, but
Well, how about like, could they have a ticket be used on 2 different banners and one has like a higher chance for the unit, but using like 10 tickets
yeah, that
per
was the
shot?
Piccolo and Frieza setup. Where
Well,
Or
no,
could
I
use
mean
them-
like different
No,
ways of
something
using your
modern.
tickets. Because a lot of people like the 10 sparking multis, especially if you do not have a full account with everything 4-star plus. The 10 sparking multi is actually kind of hype.
Yeah,
But-
that's why I said like if you're not a whale, then you know it's pretty good for you probably getting limit breaks on good characters. That's fine.
None of us are whales here.
But
so.
like speaking of the Piccolo and Frieza thing, like that was so like one off. They never even did that for the Gogeta and Broly, and that just again shows that they can't find a rhythm with these tickets or step ups or anything like that either.
But yeah, they
Yeah.
keep trying stuff like one-off and analyze the data from doing it like once, and it's like I feel like that's not the best way to get the most accurate data, right? Like do it like 3 or 4 times and then analyze everything. You just do it once, like what was it, the Ultimate Battle PvP season? They tried
Yeah.
that one time.
Never did it again.
Yeah, they never.
Exactly.
Well,
we're trying to
how do you get
experiment.
enough data to make or break whether it was a good idea of just doing it once. Like I don't know. I don't think that's the
It-
best.
Kind of makes you
Why?
wonder about that news piece where they said that they were going to do pre-seasons for the new battle mode and collect data. You know, just like how much data are
Yeah.
they collecting and what are they going to do with it?
Yeah, I hope if
If
it doesn't,
anything.
if the mode doesn't immediately take off, I hope they don't just sweep it under the rug and turn it into co-op, like where it's just the same forever and underdeveloped.
Well, it's a
but
good
I
point that
think-
you made about them collecting data and how much time they should really invest into that too. Because I see a lot of people talking about like, oh my God, everybody clearly hates this. Why don't they change it? And then the point that you just brought up is maybe an answer to why they don't change it right away is because maybe they're just giving it some more time before they change it, right?
Yeah, but it seems like they don't treat everything that way, right? I guess.
Yeah. But of course, when it comes to summons, they have to be super careful, right?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you guys, didn't they say like the units are designed like 3 months ahead of time? Something like that.
Probably longer than that.
Yeah, so I'm assuming a big change to like, well, I mean, for marketing, I'm sure there's some guys in the back that are saying what's okay and what's not and what they're allowed to do for us. And I'm sure it's not an overnight thing. Just because we got a banner that we didn't like and we complained about it on Reddit doesn't mean that they're going to change the whole system in the next 2 weeks when the next banner drops. So
it's definitely not like something that's overnight. Like you said, these things go through a lot of clearances and stuff like that. That's also why they have to design these units so far in advance. They have to get a lot of clearances on what they can and can't do and things like that. So when it comes to actually releasing the content, they can't actively change it right then and there. And then you also get into the hurdles of sometimes these things are controversial over the weekend and they're not really working the weekends, and the time differences from here in Japan where the game is managed. There are a lot of different factors for sure.
Yeah, but I mean,
like,
now that
with
we
the
have
banners,
those monthly. Go ahead.
Oh, last thing I want to say with the banner though, I'm just like, wait, why does it keep getting worse? I don't get it. I don't like this one at all. Like, this one's probably my least favorite setup for this type of banner, and they've been following this type of model for the last like 4 months or so. That's all I really care about.
I mean, the
last one was a lot better than this one even. Like Goresh said, I believe the future Gohan one was different. Again, just in my opinion though.
Yeah, Future Gohan was different. Kid Buu was different. But the one thing I will say about this banner is it confirmed that Nimbus is featured.
Yeah, I was about to ask about that because, you know, every time you get the Nimbus, you get a Sparking. It's EX or higher. I mean, that falls in line with that, but is it guaranteed to be a featured one of the two?
Yeah, it is. No, well, no, because the featured units, if you click on the actual button on the banner that says featured
LLs.
unit, that is what we talk about. That is what we mean when we say featured unit. It's that button on the banner that shows the units on a list. Those are the featured units.
The Scouter.
You mean the button that
Scouter.
says featured units?
It's just the 4 LLs and then the 2 new units.
Yeah, so if you get Nimbus on this banner, you're guaranteed to get a Legends Limited unit or the new Trunks and Mai.
Yeah, that's true. I've gotten Nimbus like 4 times, and I've gotten one of those characters every time. But 3 of them are
technically,
Legends
it's also extreme or higher then, right? Just, you know.
Well, no, because people say, oh, it's extreme or higher, but I guarantee you, if you got an extreme from your Nimbus animation, it was because that extreme unit, one of the extreme units you pulled was featured. There are banners that have featured extreme units, like all the Masters Pack banners have extreme units that are featured.
Yeah, or the
EX
All-Star
units
banners.
can be featured also.
Yes.
With like the Trunks or the Universe 2 girls and stuff like that.
Yeah, especially when they're new. Like,
yeah.
Like even
I think they're only featured
hero
in the
units can be featured, I guess. Like Hero Hercule when he debuted in the Videl and whatever the Tao Pai Pai or whatever.
Tao. Yeah.
I heard something that if you get Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta to save your attack, that's a featured as well.
No, it's a new unit.
Isn't that
It's
only when
Bardock
Vegeta?
and, it's the same thing.
Isn't it only?
Yeah,
when
it's the
Super
same
Saiyan-
thing as
Okay.
it's the same thing as
Bardock and
Bardock and
Vegeta,
Trunks animation. Yep.
That one's been like that for a long time though. It never really got recognition.
Yeah, because it's all you're always like, oh, I'm pulling so many Sparkings anyway, right?
Yeah, but when Vegeta, it's like when he saves your attack, right? Or is it when he?
Yeah.
Well, he
No,
can't
it's when
interrupt.
it's when he
you're
saves
blue.
your attack in blue. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I also feel. Do you feel that you have gotten less Bardock and Trunks animations than
Yes.
before?
Yes.
Because for me,
It's
it
not
feels like
existent
I always meme on my stream that they deactivated it for my account. That's what it feels like.
Yeah, that animation doesn't exist anymore. I got it like once in the last like 3 banners.
Yeah, I got it once or twice on this banner in like 21,000 crystals, and I think I didn't get it a single time in over 20k on Kid Buu.
Yeah. Now that you mentioned, I legit think I have the Broly animation more often than I see Bardock.
Yeah, definitely true.
Yeah, I see Broly more. Look at these first world problems.
Wait, you guys have crystals? Yeah, so speaking of that banner, we got a bunch of new units, and the first of those is obviously the LF Swift. Have you got him, the Rosé? And what do you think of him?
I actually have not pulled him, but I've played against him a lot of times. I think he's actually pretty interesting. The 100% extreme bleed is nice. He does have a pretty good blue card. I think his green card is really good as well. He draws a blue card 1 time. He restores 50 ki. He gets a 20% damage buff. And then I believe he also increases the duration of the bleed as well, which is kind of a cool ability. And then his ultimate has blast armor. He's got a decent main ability, heals 30%, gains 50 ki, cancels downgrades. I think he's actually a decent unit. I don't think he's as bad as some people make him out to be. But obviously, when you're getting these new LF units these days, you got to compare him to the Zenkai units. And stat-wise, he's probably more on the low side. But I think only looking at his kit specifically, I think he's got a pretty good-looking kit in my opinion. He's
I think the reason people.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. You're good.
Oh no, you're good.
I thought you ended. I think the reason that people give him so much guff is that he's not even really fighting Zenkai. He's fighting Purple Vegeta
Right.
for that spot. It was one thing when like Kid Buu came out, and it was kind of like, okay, well, he can kind of argue for him to be on the team, and there was no spot already filled on that team for Blue Region. It was like perfect. He just fit right in, and he's amazing.
Yeah.
But it's like he's fighting these units that like don't even have a Zenkai.
This dude is not only that, he's fighting somebody around every single one of his teams.
Yeah.
That's as good
literally.
as him in most cases, if not better.
You got purple DKP for powerful opponent. You got
Yeah, they're right on the
Goku
screen.
for God Key, and then you got
That freaking Demon King Piccolo is nuts. Like he is so good.
This Rose is a pebble compared to that Demon King Piccolo.
Yeah, I played against somebody that was so good with that King Piccolo, and I couldn't do anything but watch. I was like, what is this? I've never seen this character used like this. I got
Oh, yeah, that was
destroyed.
me, sorry.
That character is so good.
Yeah, sorry.
Probably
That
was,
was
was
And
probably
I don't
the
think
shot.
he'll ever get the recognition he probably deserves, but King Piccolo is really powerful. And
I
obviously, we don't really need to
exclusively-
talk about UI. He's good, right?
yeah. I pretty much exclusively used him last season. I played a lot of regen last season with him.
Yeah, he is good.
He's one of your favorite
So,
characters.
like, Rose's in a weird spot. That was just not a good color for him.
Yeah, that Demon King Piccolo
Yeah, I
is
agree.
my favorite unit in 2021 so far.
You guys think he would have done better as a
even
Reggie?
highly starred purple Vegetas on Future give him like too much of a run for his money.
Well, because there's insane value in that character.
Yeah, he's just a support god.
Yeah.
Now, what are your guys' thoughts on LF Rose's Z ability? Like me personally, I like the Z ability itself, but I do wish it buffed God Key a little bit more. What do you guys think?
I mean, it's
Just
pretty
future
clear they're
powerful
trying to set up sub builds in teams right now, right? Like they don't really want you
Yeah.
running this Rose with other good guys. They want you to run him with
Yeah.
villains, right? So this
Yeah.
is their way of trying to force their hand of doing that, which I think is okay at this point in the game, just because the roster is right at the precipice of being big enough where you can do these types of things. But earlier in the game's life, I think it would have been a huge problem. Like how the Red Rose came out, and he actually has a tag for like Team Rose. Hey, that
Yeah.
wasn't useful. It still isn't really useful. It came out months ago. Whereas now, when you have powerful opponent buffs, like the infrastructure is available for these sub teams to have their light in the sun, right?
Yeah. I agree.
I mean, and I think it's only going to continue to be that way because undoubtedly we'll get the corrupted merge Zamasu. We'll get probably like a support assist Rose and Zamasu on the same card, and then you can just run a specific future powerful opponent team that's just all from that same story arc, and it all just is.
And I think over the last like 4 or 5 months, basically because the anniversary was so blatant, I think they've really tried to separate God Key and Future, which is why
Yeah.
he also isn't really buffing that team. And then you have Goku Black Green, who's not really buffing that team either, even though he can obviously get their buffs. I think they've really tried to separate, and we've also had more characters like Vados and Champa and UI that have come out and really separated the teams because they were so similar during the anniversary period. And I think that's part of the reason why too he's not really buffing that. And they've also since anniversary changed their opinion apparently on powerful opponent. I remember thinking at one time they were just going to keep relegating it to like a secondary tag, but they decided to just give these characters
all
double
out,
buffs and more, right? So I think that's part of it too.
Buffed it by like it was like 15% for like blast defense or something. Something like
Yeah,
in, like
it was
insignificant.
very like the very first iteration of that team had like 6 characters that all did the same thing, like Merge Zamasu. They were all like single stat buffs and just kind of like whatever, right? But now
Yeah.
everything is double buff.
I think they sort
Yeah.
of. I think initially they planned on doing it as a side team that didn't really have a main like slew of Z abilities, but they changed their mind.
Yeah, and it makes sense because you will with that introduction of that tag, You no longer are going to have the scenario like you used to have where characters would release without a team to go to. Think back to Rildo. Think back to Hit. These are characters that were forced to be color type characters because they didn't have anywhere to go.
Yeah,
That's not going to happen anymore.
Or Devorah.
Still the last man standing.
I mean, he needs a Zenkai, dude. I've been advocating for like 2
He
years.
needs a Zenkai so he could not have a team.
Yeah, he'll get Stone Sculpture, Piccolo, and Krillin.
Blue
after
Sparking.
Saturn.
That's a Zenkai ability buff.
Blue Spark.
10%.
Yeah.
No.
First
Well,
summonable
when they-
character with that Zenkai ability.
Kind of going back
When
to
they do
Rosa, I
Devorah,
think
they need to
one of
fix
his
it,
most
too.
valuable assets seems to be like his blue card. Would you-
Yeah.
Yeah, his blue's
Definitely.
nice. It's really
And the
funny
fact-
how it's teachable, and it's only teachable for the nice animation.
Yeah,
Shallot
it
doesn't
doesn't
need
even
the-
benefit
Shallot is neutral.
Shallot at all, really. I guess unless you're
Well,
fighting a dark type opponent.
No, it's actually no. I was wrong about that because he's actually strong against Dark type.
Yeah,
I got
so-
messed up.
It doesn't.
They're
yeah,
strong
so-
against each other.
Yeah, so it
No,
doesn't-
because Light is strong against Dark, and then Dark is strong against
Oh,
everything.
Dark's
but
versus
that's
everything.
Not Light.
Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why
So-
Dark is stupid. Never mind.
Yeah,
Jason,
so
correct me if I'm
it
wrong, but
really
I don't
is
know if there's
completely
another beam
useless to
ability that
equip
damages
on
the
Shallot.
bench.
It's just for the nice animation.
Which is weird because isn't this one of the first Legends Limited units that has a teachable blue card, and they decide to make it the one that you would never want to equip? Period.
Yeah, that's why they made it junky, right? Like so it doesn't
Well, no,
fit for him. That's
Super
why.
I mean, at least you still have the AoE damage, right?
it does.
Yeah.
do
It's true.
that,
It hits your
AoE
bench on
Well,
neutral.
yeah,
That's
the-
pretty good.
But you could pick.
The important thing about the
could you pick
card
Kid
is that
Buu
it's a
for that
beam,
or
so you
something
can
like
flash.
that?
And it's still massive, so it's not really bad.
Now, the
think
big
the,
difference between that card and Kid Boo's is Kid Boo's is a projectile that he launches, and that one's a beam card, so you can clash with it.
Well, also because Kid Boo's is major damage, right? Not massive.
I don't remember honestly. But
No,
yeah,
Kid
there's
Boo's is
a massive
definitely
multiplier.
major, yeah. One other thing I
this
will
one's
say, something they could have done to make this character feel stronger is I don't know why they limited the green card drawing a blue card to once only.
Yeah.
Oh,
You
I
know why?
agree.
Because PyCon exists.
Huh?
They gave him the PyCon effect.
Oh yeah, I know, but this, come on, you can't compare this to removing someone's vanish completely. This,
You
like,
just
that one's so
stubbed
much
Gresh's
stronger.
brain. Huh?
Paihu. Best unit in the game.
Now he does nullify endurance permanently, right? Like similar to yellow DKP.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
Every
Yeah, I
every
really
hit
like
he
that.
does, even tap
Yeah,
attack.
I really like that. That is a
Yeah.
that is a very nice thing to have.
And many people seem to forget it because earlier I was rushing with a yellow future Gohan with him that still had this endurance. He left him in. He's like, yeah, I have endurance. I'm like, nope, you don't.
Yeah,
So-
I mean, okay, but honestly, right now, besides Future Go On, who else is like a prominent meta unit that has endurance?
Not really.
Yeah.
Well, you don't see enough Topo.
Oh yeah, true. Topo.
Topo, yeah, Topo, I
Yeah,
can see.
Topo,
Topo,
I
Topo
guess.
is this one.
Topo
But I don't
sees
see
high
Topo that
ranks.
often. I see him like once in
I
like
don't either.
15 games.
So like in
Yes.
the top 100, a bunch of people play Topo Vados 18.
Yeah, team
Yeah.
sucks.
Why
Stupid
would you say-
combination.
Yep.
Well, Topo
Um,
Vados is just a winning combo. in general.
Something I will say about this Rose though is, it feels like when they were designing him, they put too much stock into his bleed mechanic. Like, I get that it's good, but would you rather have a good bleed or would you rather just be a better unit?
The
Yes.
bleed doesn't last for too long either. Like if you're
It's 20 counts unless you extend it, right?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, but he also destroys the Dragon Ball. It's added.
my
Yeah.
personal experience
Yeah.
with the Rose is that he just. I don't honestly care about the card draw because people tend you tend to swap him into a favorable situation, right?
Well, this one draws a
People-
card, so it's not really that big of a deal, right?
Yeah, so the card draw wasn't what I care about. It's that he doesn't have enough key to keep up with what he's able
Yeah,
to show.
that's the problem.
So if he had, like, Kid Boo's getting key just for existing, right? If he had anything to reward him for landing a combo to restore some of that key, and maybe that'll come on his Zenkai or Plat item, then he's going to be good to go in my personal opinion.
Let's
I
not
like
think about
his
his
bleed.
Zenkai yet. Hold on.
Well, hey, it's going to come. And that's why I
coming
try
next
to tell
week, dude.
people that are going for these kinds of units and that maybe you were let down that this unit is getting placed into tier 2 and all that kind of stuff, right? But he'll have his day in the sun. And right now, he's a perfectly confident unit. In fact, I've seen some people put him on par with the Purple Vegeta purely because of strike cover and endurance nullification.
I
Yeah.
am somebody who thinks that, this guy can actually replace that Vegeta on Future. I think it's going to depend on stars, obviously, but I would not put this guy at like such a low level that he's not going to be able to compete with that Vegeta on the Future team. But that's the only team I feel like he has a place on. Powerful opponent, DKP just absolutely obliterates this guy on that team. and then God Key UI Goku's just better. So I mean,
Yeah.
For a new Legends Limited unit that just came out, like him not having a place on 2 of his teams is a little bit worrying to me.
Now, for those that have him, I want to specify something. So on his green card, how he gains 50 key, is that so does that have to connect to gain the key, or does he gain the key right when you pop the green card?
Well, if it says on hit.
Yeah, I think it's on hit.
Okay.
It says on activation, so he
Oh,
restores.
his activation? Okay.
Yeah.
I was just curious. It's not a big deal. I was just curious.
Yeah, the
It's
thing
a
with
long
that green card is
animation,
because
though,
it
so you
has
don't
a
wanna
long
miss.
animation, you're not really ever going to be using it and then not hitting the enemy, right? Unless you
Yeah.
just mess up.
Unless you
Use that
yeah,
mid combo.
you goof.
Yeah. You don't want to miss that green card. That's a death sentence for that Rose.
Same
But,
as the green card of Cell.
Yeah, it's a long animation. So chat, if you don't know this, if your opponent like whiffs the green card on Rose on you, you have free reign on him. It's like the same with the VB's blue card.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Same with UI as well.
Yeah. So if they whiff the green, they're done. I man, even if they made it 2 times, you get the blue card. That's kind of like his whole shtick, right? You got a green in your hand, you can swap in, counter your opponent, and then blow them up. And you don't really care about what you're, chaining into because, there's not a yellow unit in the game that's going to really reduce that. I swear, every time I've used that blue card, it's like a third to half their HP, depending on the unit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you look
Yeah.
at Green 21. Green 21 gets a blue card twice, doesn't she?
Yeah,
He does,
and she
she does.
stuns you
Yeah.
across the field and doesn't have a... It's so dumb.
And she's not even in the Legends Limited unit, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Rose, assuming all 3 of your opponents are alive, I'm pretty sure he's like entering the field with like 90% damage increase or something like that.
Yeah. Yep.
I'm a fan of the unit, and my only qualm with him is that he doesn't have key. You can kind of work around this, like chaining green Goku Black into this purple Goku Black actually works really well. You can kind of restore your hand, get some key, and then go into the purple Goku Black, get another free card, and use the key that you just restored from Rose. I mean, there's a few fun teams to run with him, but I don't know. He needs some love. We mentioned that purple Vegeta being replaced by him, but one of the nastier combos I've seen is if your opponent doesn't have a confident yellow, you can run them both.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I was gonna wonder. Is purple, red good?
Well, you don't have to run
Don't
purple,
have
red. You just bench the purple Vegeta or Rose, right? They have fantastic Z abilities, so you're not really suffering there. And then if
That
your
makes sense,
opponent's
too.
running blue, purple Saiyans, well, you just run double purple, and you got a god tier assist unit to actually kind of patch up the issues of Rose. So
Yeah. That's a great point.
I just tried out earlier to run purple, red, but with Ella, Frieza, and Gohan just to see how it goes. But I'm only battle rank 41, so that still works. But I
Now,
wouldn't recommend
equips
it.
wise, what equips have you guys been using on him? I think that one that they can't. What's it called? The scythe will cause a reminder into your mortal flesh or something. I think that's a pretty good one for him.
The PvP one, the current one, right?
Yeah, it's something.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like this scythe will carve a reminder into your flesh.
So I think his best team right now, I think we've all kind of chimed on it, is going to be Future. And there's a Future Strike item called You Stay Here.
Yeah, I love that
Yeah.
one.
Absolutely fantastic. So if you guys are running him on Future, that is going to be a must. I'm trying to jog my memory with the list right now.
That's Awakened one though, right?
Yeah.
It has an awakening, yeah.
He also has
Even the
Battle of
unawakened one is
Saiyans.
still pretty good as well, but the awakened one's really good for future.
Awakened one is pure strike, right? In slot
Pure
Yeah,
strike.
up to 6% per future member.
Yeah,
I
that's
believe.
crazy.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So that's
And then there's,
18% to pure strike attack, which is ridiculous on this guy.
There's an item called Battle of Saiyans as well that all Saiyan units have access to. That's extremely
Okay.
potent on Rose.
I mean, he's a Saiyan, so you instantly do the Kaba and Vegeta one, right?
Yeah, that's Battle of Saiyans.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Another
So-
good one is called Gohan Protected Me, and I believe it's for future, and it has basically you're gonna get double defense and then an extra health buff up to like 10% extra health, which can kind of help him be a little bit tankier if need be.
There's another one that's really popular called Power Unleashed. It's a blast attack and pure strike attack.
Yeah, that's the Rose equip, right?
Yeah, he's in Rose at that one, kind of looking down on you.
Yeah, when he transforms. Yep, that one's good.
Yeah.
That one's really good. It's really annoying to roll slot 2 on that one.
I think that one though it's equipment metal or rare metal. I forget which shop, but that one you don't have to spend energy on. You can just farm the crap out of it.
It's equipment metal, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Need to do that. So what do you guys think of the Trunks?
Oh,
Goresh,
Trunks.
Goresh, have you tried them out yet? Yeah, you have a video out of them. So yeah.
They actually impressed me more than I was thinking they would when I looked at their kit. It's interesting because when I first saw their kit, I was like, yeah, I don't know why this unit takes 50 counts to get 20% damage. And to be honest, I still don't get it, but they do enough damage already when they enter the battlefield. They get card draw speed. They are, giving key to their allies when they switch out. They're buffing their allies with damage whenever they use a card. So it's kind of like a mini LF green Vegeta in terms of how much buff they're giving their allies. But the key on switch out's really, really good. Their blue card hits like a truck if you get the 2 green cards off. Their green card is like a 20 million year long animation. So is their blue card.
Yeah, that's true. That's annoying.
I literally saw somebody on YouTube make a video, a Japanese YouTuber make a video on YouTube about just annoying their opponent by using this guy, Deborah, and like the Whis on the team, just spamming their green card. And I was like, how many times can I get my opponent to forfeit by just annoying them with this unit?
And 4 out of 4.
I think he had a couple. I think he had to play a while. But their green card is like one of the better green cards in the game, ironically, because I was comparing it directly to Blue Goku's, because it pretty much has the same effect, right, as the Zenkai Blue Goku's green card. But this one's like way better. 50 key and 15% health. If it just had that alone, it would already be really good.
Yeah.
But then it also...
I would say the ultimate buff is permanent with no time on it.
Yeah.
And special, which hits really hard.
Yeah, 2 stacks of the special move and ultimate damage, and then they also get an extra just 20% damage also on top of that. So it's like, what? This green card's like a top like 3 green card in the game or something, probably behind like UI Goku and like Kid.
And then you consider that they draw it on entry.
Yeah. So it's nice. They're pretty good.
What about the others?
They have really good arts cards that they're bringing to the deck too. Restores 5 key on red or yellow.
Yeah, that's actually really good.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And do they have permanent card draw, or where do they have? I know they have card draw speed somewhere.
15 seconds upon entry.
Okay.
Every time
Ooh,
they.
that's nice. That's like the same as Vados.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're actually
really
like
nice.
really. I actually liked them quite a bit. I did the same thing. I made a showcase with like Vegeta family, and like I was thoroughly impressed. I mean, I think I fought a Goku, Zenkai 6, that Super Saiyan Blue Goku. And I brought him down from like 70% HP to 0 HP in like one combo of just like having enough card draw speed and full key. Like they were solid.
The only thing I will say about them that's more negative is even though they're a melee type, they're kind of statted like a support unit. Like even at 14 stars, the primary attack stat barely breaks 240k. And their defenses barely break 160k, right?
Their stats definitely hold them back for sure.
Yeah,
like, that's the one thing.
When using this unit, and at a more realistic number, 7 stars even, they don't even break like barely 140k on their defenses. So
they're
you don't want them to get hit, basically.
They're like the melee version of that purple Vegeta that we were just talking about. Damage dealer with a lot of supporting properties. Obviously, it's a very different dynamic with the defeated buffs and stuff like that, but they kind of function very similarly.
Yeah, my favorite quote is that they're like a piece of paper that's holding an AK-47. Like, you're kind of scared to approach and get in there, but if you manage to get in, you can tear them up. But if you mess up, they will dust you real quick.
I absolutely love the design that they've been following with Vegeta family, offering all the passive buffs though. So seeing that included here was really awesome.
Yeah, and I was going to mention
every
that
time
too.
they use a strike, buff allies further and further.
Yeah, I think their best team is probably Vegeta family, and that's not to say they're bad on Future or whatever other teams they're on, but it's just that, are they really going to replace Red Cell? And the answer is a resounding no, right? They're just not going to replace Cell. So I feel like Vegeta family, take a look at the actual Vegeta family lineup, the only other like viable decent red unit besides like the free one is like Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta, but like, are you ever going to use him? Zenkai Trunks exists, but he's not buffing the team.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a few weird options for that team, but this is like the clear pick now for that team in terms of a red unit. So that's good.
Yeah, I was using the Vegeta family as well, and I really liked using this character alongside the Kid Trunks, the green one. They fit really well on that Vegeta family team overall.
Especially considering how good that new yellow Vegeta is, too. Like, Vegeta family's been getting some love. I mean, they're still kind of, I would say, a sleeper or an underdog team, because they're probably missing some of those insanely OP elements that you'll see some of the other mainline tags having. But in skilled hands, Vegeta family can do just as much damage as any other team.
You know what they're missing? They're missing an endurance unit. I feel like with an endurance unit, they would be way better.
Yeah.
Yeah, endurance, like, they already have pretty good options for like cover cut and disruption with the yellow Super Saiyan God Vegeta. You have damage with the blue Trunks Zenkai. Like, they have a lot of the tools they need. It's just they're missing like one of those really standout OP units that carries the tag. Like,
it's all good, man. One day they'll be like like Sun Family with like 7, 8, Zenkais, and then this option it's gone. You don't need it.
Yeah,
except
it'd
that
be
the
nice
Sun
if
Family
they
will
gave
have
that
12.
like purple transforming future Trunks. The maybe not quite as good as Zenkai Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, but give one of them something really stand out. Be it offense.
I would love that.
Like Goresh said, a unit that's really hard to kill.
I like how we're talking about this unit, and we're talking about ways how they're not going to be useful in the future.
Long story short, I think they're pretty cool, and I think that they built them very interestingly in a way that could, give them some viability on a lot of teams going forward. I guess I think the thing is like with like you talked about with Cell, I think it's not as clear cut for some people. But I do think that I agree with you for the most part that Cell's not going to be replaced because his mechanisms of action that he has that he brings to the team are just so valuable, right?
You
for a lot
literally
of players.
have 4 characters when you're running Cell.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Like,
nobody
it's
else
too valuable.
provides that in the entire game.
Cell is a legitimate problem for the game, but that's a different topic.
Yeah, so I don't disagree with you. I just think that for some players, they can find very, very good success with this character on the same team.
Right, and then the last thing I'll say about them is their ultimate is very interesting. So they shorten allied tag feature or Vegeta family sub count by 5, and then restore their vanishing gauge by 100%. But the caveat on that is
on
they have
hit.
to hit. Yeah, and
dude, that was the
problem
first
with
thing I
that is they have
noticed.
no blast armor on their ultimate.
Yeah. Oh my god, I was so upset. That's the only thing I'm upset about. Like I talked about it so much in my video. I was like, dude, if this had blast armor. I'm not even really that mad about the on hit, but because it would be a lot better if you didn't have to hit. Like, I can't tell you how many times I just used Bardock's ult just for bait.
Yeah.
Just so I could get another advantage. And like that's insane value, right? But with the blast armor thing, I was like, dude, you can't even stop clock here and use it. It doesn't work because you'll get hit.
Right.
You have to gamble, right?
Yeah, so you have to have a combo started already for it to really work.
Yeah,
that's
it's
main
very, very
drawback
risky.
of any melee attack that has no blast armor. It's much harder to pull off.
Even Great Saiyaman 1 and 2 got blast armor on their ult.
Plus, when they do have blast armor, it gives you so much mid-range pressure that it actually alters the way that your enemy will play if they're paying attention, right?
Oh yeah, it's a game changer for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially
that was the first thing I noticed.
Yeah, especially since you stop clock already with the main ability when you draw it, so it's not even like you have to have a green card to stop clock. You just pop the main when you think there's something coming, and then you just go for it, right?
Yeah. I would say like a measurable percentage of games, like probably like 20% of games end with like you rising arch the opponent, they swap into their last unit, they go to attack, but you hit your main
stop
ult
clock.
them, and like that's, like.
But it feels like somebody left a comment saying they all can't get blast armor, and I agree with that. But it feels like everybody's been getting it anyway. Am I crazy about that? Like it feels like everybody's been getting blast armor.
Yeah, I feel like a good alternative to that, which already exists in the game, it's just only one character has it, is to give more characters ranged ults, like Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks has a
Gotenks,
yeah, he's
still
the
only
only character in the game I think that has a ranged ultimate arts, and I feel like that could help make it seem less samey, right? Like, oh yeah, this character doesn't have blast armor on his ult, but it's okay because he can shoot his ult long distance. Like, mix it up a little bit,
Yeah. That's actually a good point. I never even thought of that.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, Gotenks is still the only one with that utility.
But the 150% feint.
So I've never tested this. I'm assuming it's a collision,
for like
right?
5 months or something.
That laugh said a lot about you.
Dude, he was so annoying.
And then
like,
they
well,
fixed
I'm
it and
getting
never
faded
was
here.
played again.
Yeah, I don't understand why they haven't, released too many long-range ults. If it's a problem with, they think it's too powerful because it gives you too much long-range pressure, well, then they just don't make it quite as strong. Or something.
But then again, you also have blue cards that give you long-range pressure. Just that you don't know if your opponent has one, Otherwise, I don't think that it adds that much pressure to the game just to have a long-range ult.
Hey, Goresh, this is your footage, right?
Yeah.
I just saw you switch in on Trunks, get a stop clock. He was blasting. If that was blast armor, you would have won right there.
I was
You had
actually thinking the
advantage.
same thing. That could have been such an easier like maneuver that I could have done just to blast him through that, and I had to dodge it instead.
Yeah. I was so upset about that. So, yeah.
And I think with the whole blast armor thing, isn't there like some Gogeta unit that has like on the they have an ability to
the
pierce
blue one.
blast armor?
Yeah,
Blue
the
one.
blue one.
There's
the blue
Piccolo and someone
Well,
else.
it's not.
So I wonder if like eventually they start coming out with more units that can punish blast armor.
It's like it's not even that
Nullify.
he. Well, he doesn't necessarily pierce. Well, yeah, he just gets like a huge damage buff if his attack
Yeah.
goes through blast
Yeah.
armor. Yeah, that's something else that they should incorporate more of into the game because it can
Yeah, absolutely, I agree.
counter that playstyle.
Well, strike blast armor isn't as common. So I'm not really upset about that one. It's the ultimate blast armor that's been popping off a lot lately. We
Yeah.
even saw like the red Frieza that got blast armor on his special, but not the ult.
But not the old.
It's like they've been pretty flexible about it.
Wait, does the the green 21 have it on her ult? I don't think she does, right?
No blast armor for her. You would
No, she doesn't
you'll
either.
get eaten up.
It's
If
so
she had
random.
blast armor, man, that's
But
too
she
much,
has
man.
she has a conditional lock, which is already good.
Conditional
Yeah, as I said,
lock,
it's too
and if
much.
you just hit them with a green card, they're fainted, so you can guarantee placement of the ult you want. Like,
Yep. Just wondering. All right. So I think we can go on to the main topic of the podcast, of course, which is exactly that's what I wanted to hear. Zenkai Krillin DFree. I'm gonna give the floor to you. I'm expecting a speech. Let's go.
Well, best character in the game, pretty apparent, pretty easy, pretty straightforward, right? So with Krillin, a couple of things. He doesn't get that big of a stat increase, so there's that.
Barely anything.
He got like plus 1,000 in stats total, which is okay. I really do love the way that they built him, though, in really going hard into the supporting attributes. So with the main ability, the ally sub countdown draws the blue card, the damage inflicted buff. It's all pretty cookie cutter stuff there, but still shortening sub counts is an incredible mechanic to have regardless, which I believe he already had anyway. But a couple of things that they added with him was they added in the ability to get more defeated buffs. So you now increase your Dragon Ball, inflict a couple disruption things on the opponent. And also, he has some more utility by being a damage dealer, but he gets a lot of ki. They added a couple of uniques here, or a new unique here, where he gets ki on entry, along with the damage buff. And then, obviously, when he subs out, he gains ki and offers another damage buff. And he gives one of those permanent ally buffs for the first 60 counts. Can't be canceled, 10% up as well. And that's pretty much everything you need to know about Krillin.
And how do
Like
you
I
like
said,
him?
best character in the game now.
Okay, that says it all.
Yeah, I mean,
So
I will say
one thing I will say though is I expressly made it a point to do a video with him outside of using him with Goku because I wanted to see him kind of function on his own or on a different team. So I used him on Super Warriors first and let that kind of sit for a couple days before I bothered even trying the Goku team because I think everybody's going to gravitate towards that because obviously that's just kind of thematic. It makes sense. Blah blah. You get the point. But I really thought he held his own on the Super Warrior team in a purple-red composition. And him and the other Krillin were making Yamcha just blow up units. It was hilarious to see. So I think in that context, he's actually improved a lot as a fighter. And his Zenkai ability increases his survivability as well, just a good amount. So I enjoyed him. I enjoyed him a lot. And then alongside Goku, the difference isn't really that much when paired with Goku. Like, the defeated buffs don't really go up that much. You get the extra 10% for the first 60 counts. More of the disruption pops in and then the Dragon Ball gain. But it was always a good combination anyway. Just letting him get KO'd and then using him alongside the Goku for the extra special move. And then the utility of the sub count down, using him alongside Goku and Bardock was awesome as well and something that I tested because it allowed Bardock to use his switch buffs longer. He's fun, you know. I tried him in multiple team compositions.
I was gonna say because like he's literally designed in his kit. It is telling you to use him with the Goku, right? That's what they're
Yeah.
basically
That's
designing
why
him
I
to
said that's why I didn't do that first.
do. Yeah. So I mean, in terms of him getting a Zenkai just anyway, like how much value is there even in that? Because of the fact that he doesn't even really care about being a unit that does anything by himself.
Hold on. There's always value in a Zenkai Krillin. I don't know what you.
I know.
You can be objective about this, Goresh, but man, no slander allowed.
Shots fired.
No, I mean, he's clearly going to be good because I think the key that he gains on entry makes him kind of like Vados-esque a little bit, right?
Yeah. Very similar.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I mean, he's obviously going to be way better now. I mean, my video on him is literally him, Namek Goku, and Purple Vegeta. I'm just going to let both of them die and let Goku just blow up everybody. But
yeah, like I said, I liked him a lot on Super Warriors, though. Unfortunately, did have to drop that TN until he's like an optional fighter. But he was pretty fun to use. And the key, like he actually is very similar to me to a character like for like the third time referencing him, that Vegeta supporting character, a lot of key there. Also defeated buffs too, so I like him a lot.
yeah, and they didn't really change much about his kit prior to like the 2 unique abilities that he has already prior to Zenkai. I think they only changed like the key recovery or something when he dies.
Yeah.
But the 10% damage received debuff that he inflicts to all enemies, it might not sound like a lot, but when you pair that up with the fact that he gives all allies 10% damage inflicted, like if you stack those together within the first 60 counts, like that could be like that's a 20% damage net gain that you're getting, which is actually pretty good.
Yeah. And to Namek Goku with Namek Goku's blue cards, that can actually turn out to be a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
He
mean,
also
literally-
supplies a blue card.
Yeah, I was gonna say he literally draws a blue card with his main. You could just use it with Namek Goku.
Yeah, there's a lot of technical plays you can do right there with the reducing sub count, drawing a blue card. You can swap into Namek. I mean, I've been having a lot of fun with Krillin as well.
Yeah.
The one question I do have for you, DFree, is how do you feel about the timeline of this release for him? Do you think it was too early, or what do you think?
Oh man, it's never too early for, broken unit like Krillin. I'm just happy with the way that the releases of Zenkais have gone lately. You had your LOE ones, even though you may not. Last I heard, you weren't like super thrilled with some of them.
Yeah.
But you had some LOE ones, and then Ryuden got his, and I get a Krillin. Although I get the only like one that's not as like premium, but there's that. Nonetheless, though, I'm pretty excited about this.
I'm still waiting for the Ginyu Force Zenkai, by the way. Thank you.
What this
Toshi.
tells us is that the next character, What this tells us is the next characters that's gonna come out is gonna be some super busted Goku, man. Watch, bring Krillin all the way
man.
up to Z tier as a utility unit.
Oh god.
He'll
Oh yeah.
be like a purple EX Goku too, just to put icing on there.
It's absolutely broken.
And then you just play those two with Namek Goku, and that new Goku draws like 3 blue cards on green or something. Enjoy.
Yeah.
Because I'm just thinking about, like, you could technically run this Krillin with a purple red EX team, like not even just EX team, but like this Krillin, and then your main like damage dealing unit is that purple armored Goku, the EX one.
Yeah, that's similar to what I ran. Like I said, I was using the double Krillins because they're both supports and it's a lot of support. But Yamcha was the damage dealer. He was blowing everything up. Yamcha does a lot of damage and draws.
Yeah, well, I mean, I just mean because like you're quote unquote meant to pair him with a Goku, right? So if you're gonna use one,
that Goku's pretty good too, but he has that stupid Raditz mechanic, so I don't like him.
Yeah, I know. Trust me, I hate that mechanic too.
You could take him back. Oh, but we could use the SS2 Goku. That works. I'll take it. SS2 Goku's pretty powerful.
Yeah. Oh, the purple one, yeah, from the Majin Vegeta fight.
The EX one.
Yep.
Okay. No. I was like, hey, wait, you're not talking about the yellow otherworld one. It's like,
No,
which
no,
yellow?
He's too good. He's too good.
Yeah. Sure. How could we? So, Brad, Nas, have you played Zenkai Krillin or Prof? Or have you played against them?
Yeah, I used him. Like I sat down to make a video and everything, and I am just god awful with Namek Goku. That's all I learned in that video, is I am just terrible with him. Because I sacked off Krillin, and then I went in Namek Goku, and I got like Goku Black just took me down real quick, and I was like, all right, cool. Like the green one, I was like, never mind. We'll make this video later. I'm all right. Like, I like it.
That was your first
Looking at
mistake.
his
You don't
kid,
sack
like,
off the Krill sacks off you.
That's what I learned, man. Like, that's what I learned. So I'll make the video eventually. I haven't made it yet, though. But he seems fine. He's fun for all these free-to-play Zenkais. People get like, oh, I can't believe they're not top-tier meta units. And it's like, it's free, man. Like, as long as they're kind of usable and they're kind of fun, I'm in for it. Like, I'm here for these free Zenkais. So.
Yeah, in all seriousness, I like I said, I really do like the way that they built him and designed him. He doesn't change a ton pre and post Zenkai, and like Goresh said, you can argue that he kind of didn't really need it if his utility in terms of his main usage point doesn't really change a ton, but I'm excited for it because I also want to see them eventually Zenkai the Gohan, and I want to see what they do with that too.
Yes, I was about to say, do you
So-
guys think they'll do the Nail and Gohan next?
Yeah, I think they'll do the Gohan eventually.
Do not
I want to
mention
see what
Nail.
that happens. It's just cool running stuff that's not freaking Future every match, right? Or like Sun Family every match. Like just using different teams is fun to me.
Yeah.
So that's why I like it a lot more.
I
than
like using different region teams. What?
Well, we already know.
no.
We already know that Super War is going to be really, really good when they finally bring out the Ultimate Chaozu. So
Ultimate chat.
I'm still mad at that. I'm still mad at that.
He's coming. They're planning.
They really put him in the news post like he was some new character.
He's coming. I'm telling you.
He was awesome.
Ultimate Chaozu Zenkai for the Ultimate Zenkai.
Yeah, if they Zenkai, what if they Zenkai'd that EX like day one Chaozu and they just didn't change him? Like they just give him like the Krillin treatment where they gave like 1,000 stats to all of his stats and that's it.
Oh my god.
And then they called him the Ultimate Chaozu and they changed his name to the Ultimate Chaozu.
Ultimate last trump card or something. Exploding Chaozu. By the way, what do you guys think of the awakening for that silver Krillin equipment? Is that
I had a
usable?
lot of those because I like to run the hero team and stuff like that. So I had a lot of those. It's a very hard equip to roll good pre awakening anyway. But now it's a lot better for this type of team. But again, it's not really like all that flexible. It has a little more range now as it can be used on EXs. And it goes up to freaking 30%. So it's a really staple equip for these types of characters. But it's still very tough to get good rolls on.
Yeah, and then you combine that equip with the EX purple equip, and you got a lot of stat buffs.
Yeah, and Super Warriors had a equip that was like HP and double defense. No,
Yeah.
HP and double attack.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. They had some good equips overall. So the 30% increase is pretty awesome. I wish it was maybe for a wider cast of EXs, but I understand why it's not. It's only relegated to the Frieza Saga characters.
Yeah.
But I understand why it's not. 30% is disgusting. So,
Wait,
but hey, you can
which
use
stat is it?
Garesh. Hey, Garesh, I just found out. I just remembered. You can use him alongside the EX Frieza. Yo,
Yeah, you can.
he can support EX Frieza.
And that VX
That sounds
Frieza,
like an
can't he-
awesome video idea for you, man. I want
Can't
to
that
see you
EX
do some
Frieza
more
also
Krill.
use that equipment we were just talking about?
Yeah. See, there you go. I just made your next video for you.
I just realized that.
Okay, you have to give him a commission of the ad revenue, obviously.
We'll talk
No,
after.
free of charge. I just want to see you use the krill more. That's it. I was hold on. That was a snarky comment that you didn't hear before we started. I was like, man, can't believe Garesh really didn't do his Krillin video for forever. What the heck, man?
It's just because there's so much stuff that came out on that day, and I'm just busy.
Yeah. It was hectic.
But you can use the Krillin, and you can just do like honestly a purple blue setup. You can use Krillin, LF Frieza, and then the EX one, right? That would work okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if
So
Krillin
there you
just
go. Already
supports
theory
on
crafting. I like it.
Easy peasy. All right, so I guess we're moving on since we're also a little short on time. We have two more shorter topics. One of them is the Super 17 Zenkai announced. Prof, what are you expecting of him?
Well, Super 17 right now, what he's really missing above anything else is like pretty much all of his damage multipliers are small and conditional. He doesn't just come into field with a bunch of fun buffs. He has to like kill enemy units or whatever, right, to get his stuff proc. So I'm expecting to give him, 30 to 50% damage when he enters the field permanently, and then he can probably get wiped or whatever. But I don't know. I'm a little disheartened that they made his Z ability Green GT. I believe it's Green GT. You guys can correct me
Yes.
if I'm wrong on that one.
Yeah.
But there's only like 3 other characters that he can buff, which is the Full Power Goku, the
Brad.
Super Saiyan GT Goku,
Yep.
and Baby Vegeta.
Brad's
You're not going
favorite
to run
now.
any of those units. Maybe Brad will run the Super Saiyan Goku, but even then, I don't. You'd be wanting to run that Goku next to
Maybe.
Bardock or something, right? And you probably wouldn't want to be benching the Super 17 for him. So I don't really see him having any crazy bench potential. I'm expecting to see him ran on the Androids team, but I don't see him outshining Green 21. He just happens to have a really cool cover change, and but hers is even cooler. So
Yeah.
I don't know. People are expecting GT. Maybe this is an omen that they might do 3 or 4 GT Zenkais and pull them back in line with the rest of the units. But I'm excited to see him become usable, but I don't see him making a splash on the meta unless they make his kit just bonkers. But we've been seeing them pull their punches on the last few Zenkais.
This dude was one of the ones where I remember reading his kit and I was like, dude, he's going to be so good. And then he comes out and it's like, oh, he's really not that good.
His damage is
So
never there.
It just, he felt so clunky to me. I do hope that with his Zenkai, they add a little bit more dichotomy between his cover change and his green card. They're like the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're like literally the same thing. I mean, it's good. It's a good effect. Don't get me wrong. I just want to see some more, like I said, of a difference there. But he seems like he's all but dependent on landing a lot of the things that he has built in to even do anything. But that's more a product of just being an old unit. I mean, I assume he's going to get something like at least like 60% on entry probably. Things like that that'll bring him up to more modern standards. With their recent streak of Zenkais, he's not going to be like broken, I imagine. But I think he'll be pretty modern relative to other Zenkais.
Yeah, like also
So we know
restore key when he uses the main.
We know two things.
I
We know
hate
two-
that so much. Like, you have to have at least key gain on these main abilities nowadays just to be modern. You have to.
Yeah.
We know two things that he's going to be doing. Number one, he's going to be They didn't say what it was going to do, but they said debuffing the enemy and getting damage inflicted the longer he's on the battlefield,
Yeah,
which should pair up nicely with his green card. So that's
what the
actually pretty
V-Jump
good.
Said, right?
Yeah, and then the other thing that they said was that was in the V-Jump scan, and then on the V-Jump official website they said that he was going to get more damage. He gets a damage buff whenever he's attacked. So the way I take that is it's kind of going to be like Rage Trunks.
Well, it's a little tricky in my opinion because there's an argument that he needs to be like not busted because people are just going to run him on androids, and then there's the whole other argument on the other side that he does need to be busted to be a stepping stone to bring GT back in the meta. So, I'm kind of interested to see what they do here.
I think he could be a mid-range character in terms of how good he is, right? And
Yeah.
I think that coupling that with 2 or 3 other mid-range Zenkais, 2 or 3 more releases of characters, I think
new
GT
team.
would be just fine personally. I don't really see him getting used on androids just because they have so much competition there.
Yeah, that's true.
21 and also like 16, like you really don't need to go out of your way to use him there. But if you really wanted to, you can. I mean, he has a phenomenal Z ability, even though the Zenkai isn't for that team. He has a phenomenal Z ability that you could use.
Yeah.
Double defense buffer. Yeah.
Double
Yeah.
defense is always going to be good, right? So he could fit there pretty well. And depending on how good he is, I mean, I don't want to make it sound like 21 or 16 can't be, overlooked. But depending on how good they make him, who knows, right? Maybe he doesn't have to be Z tier Zenkai, but what about low S? Something like that. Maybe for a lot of people that don't have the stars on Green 21 or don't have 16 Zenkai for whatever reason, they just buy this dude's pack and Zenkai 7 him, and you're good to go.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
One thing
you
he
can do
always
16
was
for
good
him,
at
too.
was being defensive. Like, he could always take hits. So if
Oh,
they
yeah.
buff his defense,
That's the only
even a
thing he
little
could
bit
do.
more,
His damage was so bad.
his damage was awful. But if they buff his defenses a little bit more and then lean into those, debuffs over time that Goresh was talking about, like, between his green card, his high defenses, he could stay in the field theoretically pretty long, especially if you have the whole enemy team paralyzed. So
Yeah.
His damage was so bad even when he came
Yep.
out, so I really hope they work on that.
And something
I have-
else
I
I'd
have-
like to see them add, like you already mentioned with his green card, is how similar it is to his sub-in. Just add the knockback effect to it. Like if you successfully absorb a super move or a yellow card, have it knock the enemy back. Kind of like the green Broly. You could tap shot
No,
the green Broly from the third back row, and his shield will still knock you away.
but that's kind of how Broly's green card works. Like one of the wonderful things about Super 17 is that if you cover with him and you catch a blast card, the opponent is not
They're stuck.
pushed away. They're not stuck. You can't chain into it. We already tested that.
It's like
but-
Future Gohan, right?
No, because Future Gohan it might even be a glitch. I hope not, because I do it to my opponents constantly. But there's like an end lag that they're stuck in, and there's only a couple options they can do to get out of it. But with 17 and 19 and 20, when they cover, you can immediately vanish out. You can do everything. But since it doesn't knock your opponent back, a lot of people like panic swipe, and you could just kind of sit there and wait for the sidestep and catch them in the sidestep. So I really do enjoy that it doesn't push them back. It takes their key too, so it causes a lot of people to, maybe you just used like a 30 cost blast card, and I just took 50 of your key on top of that. You're not doing anything to me right now. You're going to sidestep. And so I really appreciate his current setup right now with his green. I think that, honestly, if they give him 40 to 50% damage increase, and then bring his stats up the line just because of sheer stats from his Zenkai ability in 16, he's going to be a force to be reckoned with. The question is, will he be enough for GT to come back?
Another
Probably
problem
No,
with
not
him.
by himself. He can be a Z tier character and still not be enough for GT to come back
Yep.
by himself.
I was gonna say another problem with him a problem with him doing a knockback would be that, remember, his blue card is like an AOE mid
mid-range.
range, so it wouldn't even connect.
That's true. But I have to say, I
making
used
that
to
chainable would be cool,
love
though.
playing him on my RoboCops team. You know, when there was still like Fusion 13, Blue 13, the Purple 17, which got his free balance change, and then you play him with Cell. And one thing, I remember we did the fan-made Zenkai for GT, and I actually specifically reviewed one of the kits for Super 17 because I wanted him to get a buff. And what I would like him to have is something like sub-count reduction again. Because you also have a couple of cover units on androids or other teams which, you know, increase the count, like the sub-count to like 12 or 13. And if he has like a -3 on the green card, for example, that would be pretty insane.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
16
I
cover
think
cuts.
I think some modern things he's going to need. Like we talked about, obviously getting some damage. I think, speaking of damage, he's going to need more. I mean, it's really tough to say how much you're going to actually give him in the way of like ultimate skill damage, because his ultimate, if it lands, is still ridiculous.
Yeah.
You know, the full party paralysis, things like that. But like I assume he gets maybe up to 30% ultimate damage somewhere in his kit. I think that's a pretty reasonable number. I'd like to see him gain key on main, and that, I mean, the rest of that's all pretty good. I mean, maybe they add not knockback but combo on the green card. If he adds combo on green card, I think that'd be crazy too.
Maybe it knocks back to
But the rest of
mid-range
it,
and
I
then
don't really
it
see
combos
much.
the blue card.
Oh, yeah, the cover
Yeah,
cut
yeah.
can still do what Professor said, but maybe they make the green card have the knockback or something. I don't know.
Well, so right now he takes the key. If it was almost worth like a pseudo paralysis or whatever, where they're just kind of stuck there for a second, panting because he just took their energy, then
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah, he also
like, I
gets
can
a
see
heal
something
off
like
it
that.
too, I believe.
But if you suddenly make his green card knockback, you're going to change the playstyle of the unit entirely.
True. But then again, who plays the unit right now? So I don't think people have to readjust because just nobody plays him.
I guess not that big of a deal for this kind of fighting game, but I don't know. For me, when I think about buffing a unit, I want to add to the kit, not take away. And since that's a situational thing, whether you want your opponent to be knocked away or not, that's just changing the kit, in my opinion. Like, because like Green Broly's, you brought that one up a couple times. The only thing you can actually chain into Green Broly, though, is his blue card. It's incredibly potent if you do it, but it is the only thing you can do with his green card. Other than that, you're just kind of, stalling timer counts.
Right.
Well, I was saying making it something maybe similar to like the Super Boo variants, where you have the barrier type deal. But I mean, Super Boo's like immune to strikes, but maybe this dude doesn't get that part of it, but he still gets the combo ability from close range.
Yeah, if it worked kind of like how Yellow Vegeta's shield works when he covers in, that if you catch someone at
something
close
like
range,
that.
that you'll be able to follow up. Because that's how Yellow Gohan works currently. They have to have a Vanish or a second blast card to get out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and one thing I would think would be cool just to add is, I don't even know if it does currently, but when he pops his green card and he heals, I think he should also get some sort of a damage buff in the sense of like him powering up, well, just from the opponent's energy. Because I think that was how it was in the show too, right? That he was getting stronger and just absorbing everything.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're
he
definitely
also-
going to find ways to mix in damage.
Oh,
has
man,
to have it.
He also that's also how he was defeated. So
That's true.
Well, I mean, they've been doing a lot of these buffs lately, which I would love to see him get, where you're getting like 5 to 10% every time they do a certain action, but stacks like all the way up to like 80 to 90% in some cases, So
Yeah.
they could give him something like that, like every time you land the green card, you get 20% damage increase, stacks up to 4 times permanently.
Yeah, that way you
I
also
would
have
love
to
to
actually
see
play
card draw
around it.
speed as well.
Yeah, true.
Like
Yeah.
if he got card draw speed on his green card, I think that would actually be a really cool ability.
So he would.
what about neutral typing?
Comboable.
That would be crazy. He
Yeah,
would
sure.
heal,
While we're at it,
key,
why not make him neutral?
everything. Sorry, Prof, you were saying?
Full party paralysis, neutral typing, best character in the game.
Right. He just
Green card
Go
when
who?
you land it inflicts feint.
no. If you land the green card, he just spawns Hero Hercule. Even if
Oh,
you
so
don't
what
have
I was thinking though, so his green card, the whole shtick about him was like a global paralysis, right? But there's a lot of units, especially by today's standards, that come
immune.
in with multiple stacks that are
No,
immune.
they're going to
Exactly.
add cancel buff effects on all enemies, then do the paralysis.
So, well, well, that'd be absolutely ludicrous if you wiped all enemy buffs and then paralyzed the whole enemy.
Imagine last man standing
Also
with
fainted
Gohan.
them and then got all 7 Dragon Balls, yeah.
Well, I'm thinking of more of like we just saw heavy bleed, like maybe not with this unit, but in the future, a stat ailment that you can't ignore, a supreme version of it, if you would, right? That you put on a bleed, they can't heal this bleed off, they're stuck with it, or as with 17's paralysis, you can't get through it.
I think, just on the topic of like a game design standpoint about that, I don't like that sort of like, oh, there has to be a counter for everything, because then we get into like this infinite loop where it's like, Endurance was released, then you have units that nullify Endurance. Now you have Red Cell who nullifies the nullification of Endurance, and then what are you going to have next? You're going to have the unit that nullifies the Cell's like revive effect. So it's like, I don't know, you can't just keep making like units that nullify other effects
Like
every
one-upping everything.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and then how would that also work? Like, if it was a mandatory paralyze, like, how does that work on characters like Baby or 16 that are just immune to certain things due to their just inherent character design, right?
Well, I was mainly thinking about what the big hole in his hit kit's going to be, right? And I immediately thought of Blue Trunks. I'm just going to pop Blue Trunks' main ability and laugh at him.
I think DFreeze might be more in line, like, remove one usage of everyone's protection and then inflict it. Like, so some characters would still be immune, like the Super Saiyan Blue Goku gets like, what, 2 usages of it, or, you know, something like that. But
well, they could have him put multiple conditions on, because that's already what happens when people pop Hero Herculin. He consumes like all of your stacks immediately with those first 2 paralysis and poison. So if they put poison on his ultimate too and made sure it triggered first, then that'd be a way of making sure his main gimmick always happened.
Yeah, either way, the first video I'm doing on this unit besides his own showcase is I'm Zenkai buffing Baby Vegeta, and I'm going to have a good time.
Ooh.
this pain is real, and
Is
there's
that-
only one way to cure it. You can
Yeah, it's
heal
one way
yourself.
out. Is
There's
it going to
one
be a
way
video
out.
of Goresh of you only taking L's?
That's got to be the title of that
Probably.
video, Gresh.
It's going to be like my Ultimate Shiatsu showcase where I lost like every match.
But
Yeah, I
just
wanna-
the
I wanna
title
see- I wanna
has to
see
be
a
this
video where
pain
you just
is
take-
real and
take
there's only
losses.
one way out.
Because showcasing a unit also can mean that it sucks. Here you go. I lost every match. It sucks.
So you're putting Boo Super Saiyan 3 and 17?
Yeah, that was like Truth's
Send them to
Zenkai
me.
Red Cooler showcase.
Send him to the moon. Okay. Like, you might actually have the first video where someone kills someone with that unit.
What? Outrageous.
Yeah, Baby Vegeta's like 0-100.
I guess the
Like,
good
I-
takeaway here is at least GT is getting something, right? They've been
Yeah,
ignored
I
for
agree.
so long. It's kind of like, do they even exist in the developers' heads anymore? And at least this is a little sparkle, a twinkle in the eye that the GT hasn't been completely forgotten about, right?
That's how they keep the
mean,
people
it's,
quiet.
It's a very interesting time to release this, because if they do decide to give them a few more characters, then the Steam is going to really pick up for Anniversary, being
Yeah.
GT related.
Yeah, to be honest,
It's a very interesting time.
I knew it probably wouldn't happen, but I was really hoping they would coordinate a little bit more with Dragon Ball FighterZ, releasing Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta there. If there was some cohesion between the different properties, like there is sometimes, it always appears that it works better when the games work together, right? It's just, there's more reach, it gets more exposure. Like, I don't know. It could,
Well,
The
there's
funny
general
thing
hype in
about-
the community.
I was gonna say the funny thing about this Zenkai now is like people are starting to speculate about GT all of a sudden when it's like, even though we get Zenkais for tags in the past, like for LOE we got 2 in a row. Like people aren't speculating about LOE, and then GT gets 1 Zenkai. Like, oh, GT's coming up now. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I think GT though is different just because of the fact they've been so neglected.
Yeah.
Like you look at all these other teams like Sun Family and all these other teams. Even LOE is a little bit neglected, but they've benefited from this too in some capacities. Very few teams have been neglected to this degree where they don't get that treatment where all of a sudden they're getting 4 or 5 new characters or a couple Zenkais, whatever the case is, in just a very short amount of time, bringing them from nothing to relevance. GT's never had that. So I think with this, this might be one of those things where we look back in hindsight and say, it was whatever. They just kind of just did this as a one-off like they typically do. Or it could have meant something. And like I said, the timing is interesting because if this was like 3 or 4 months ago, I wouldn't have said anything. But
Well,
the
guys
fact we're inside of the home stretch for the anniversary in a few months, it could mean something.
Yeah,
Who
this
knows?
could
It
definitely be like a stepping stone to build up towards the anniversary for sure. It could be.
Yeah, and we've already covered, and I don't want to be like, well, we know they listen to us, but we've already covered, like, in our opinions, the best way to sell GT characters is to put them on banners with other crazy hype units that would also carry the banner. So if they do set the anniversary up to be another, like, oh, Super versus GT, and, you know, they could stack GT characters and get them to sell while also offering, like, full...
The only thing I'll say about that is last year was such a missed opportunity because it was 3 super characters and 1 LF out of those 3. And then if they had done the same and, like, dropped SS4 Gogeta, you know how much more hype that would have been during the anniversary period?
Well, they gotta
GT just
do-
felt like they were worthless during that part of the anniversary.
All they gotta do is not do separate GT and Super banners. You gotta put one with one.
Yeah,
like if they did
do a
Omega,
super character,
if they did
GT
Omega,
character.
imagine if they did Omega and Rage Trunks, and the other banner was Super Saiyan.
Well,
4
that's going to
Goku
force people to
and
pull on
Murzomasu.
both.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
the point.
So bad.
All right.
Just to me, the theme was like, why is Vegito on both of these banners? He doesn't fit this banner's
Right.
theme
He
at all.
belongs, okay?
I think, but
Whenever you
we
ask a
speculated
question
that
about
COVID
I was gonna say, whenever you have a
impacted
question
there.
about why Vegito was doing something, the answer is because he's Vegito. That's why.
That makes
Yeah.
sense.
And then we did also speculate that, you know, the virus impacted their ability to make anniversary as hype as they wanted to, right? So hopefully this
Yeah,
year,
for
Probably-
sure.
hopefully this year,
Maybe to
but-
some degree, but the characters would have been most likely done by the time we hit, you know, the initial outbreak about a year ago. About this time last year. I imagine their anniversary characters are pretty much done right now.
I'm
So
Yeah.
you never really know.
Yeah, it's
They
2 months
probably
from
are
now.
in the final stages of designing them and testing them. I
Yeah.
would assume you're right.
All right, I think
Yeah.
just for the sake of time, we're just gonna have one more topic, which is probably not gonna take very long. But we got a new raid. It's still on. Nas, how do you have you done it? Did you get your crystals?
I did it one time so far.
Okay.
Just once. It's a raid. It's exactly the same as the previous formatted one, which was exactly the same as the previous formatted one before that. So, very opposed, like diametrically opposed to their summoning banner tweaks. This has stayed absolute. Like, this has not changed in the past, like, 3 or 4 iterations of them doing it. You know, we did see the shift away from where you only had to do it 10 times, and then they would give out the rewards based off if we killed the boss and whatnot. It seems like they've, you know, fully abandoned that method, and now it's just like, I don't want to say infinity, but it's nearly an infinity farm. Like, you just do it as many times as required to get all the medals, to buy all the things from the shop you want to buy, and then you decide yourself when you're done. Whether the boss dies or not is irrelevant. There's no bonus rewards for doing that, which is why I think that some of these bosses have been surviving, which is great, because I think the main complaint from before was that the boss would be dead within like 12 hours, and then people would either A, be at work or asleep, and then they'd wake up and, oh, the event's already over, you know? So this somewhat caters more to everybody, having it be around longer, but the cost of that is you have to do it. It's way more grindy, right, to get all the rewards.
Also, one thing
So-
that I really dislike about this is a buddy of mine, Noctis, is like or anybody who saves free-to-play Chrono Crystals over 20,000 cannot get the raid CC. Like, you can, it just
Yeah, that's
says
messed
just
up.
says you cannot hold anymore.
Yeah.
And I feel like they
Yeah,
should
that-
should change that, because I thought that the 20K cap was either so you couldn't just hoard, you know, on the sales, or that you can, you know, circumvent vendors. But free-to-play players are absolutely screwed by this. Why should they play the raid, except for maybe if they want erasers or something?
Yeah, I feel like they should lift that cap on grinding. Like, any crystals you earn via gameplay should not be impacted by that. But if they want to
Yeah.
still bar off sales to prevent vendors, then they, whatever. But that,
You guys really think it has to do with vendors? Because they do the same thing with multi-Z power. You can only hold 100 at a time. You have to keep going back and buying it.
No,
And
it's
they do
it's
this.
designed to be a choke point.
Yeah.
They're trying
Yeah.
to make you have to use these
Yeah,
resources.
exactly.
so you
They
can't
want,
hoard
they
them.
don't want you to save up 100,000 Chrono Crystals, wait for 3rd anniversary, and have, you know, a 9-star unit of the new fancy LF with $0 spent that you're going to use for the
Yeah.
next year.
That's why it's like that.
I think
It's-
vendors had something to do with it too when they designed it, though. Like back when the game first came out, because
Well, that
this
was-
is something that's been in the game
That's
forever.
fair. That's fair. When this game came out, vendors
Yeah.
were oof,
Huge.
man.
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean,
that's why I did it.
I used it. I got banned for it, rightfully so. But $78 for 20,000 chronos? Okay.
Yeah. I will say for the raid though, I never really had a problem with these raids. They're a good way for people to get rewarded for grinding the event. That's fine. I just don't particularly like grinding this event because it's kind of boring. But the rewards are really good, so grind the event.
How about if they put auto?
I like how they
combat on it and you
changed
just have to keep re-entering?
the raids, and I say somewhat sarcastically. They've changed the raids the last few times from being, you have to just join once and you're good, to being you actually have to play the event.
Yeah, well, it's probably because nobody was playing it, right? That's why they did it.
Yeah, people would.
Which is so weird to say, considering people were complaining about how they had no HP.
Yeah.
They were already done. Like, did you play it? No, I didn't join once.
Well, life is hard when you're playing raid. But seriously,
At the
though,
end
I
of the
think
day,
it's
it's just another. This is highly optional. Like, obviously, if you're a budget player and you want the resources, it's heavily recommended you do it. But not doing this, there's no net negative. Like, you don't lose anything other than 1,000 chrono crystals and some resources you could get via other means, be it other events, buying, whatever. But yeah. Free to play should do it. Get the crystals. I don't know. It's just kind of boring, so I've neglected it. Like,
I mean, if you have Rose even at 2 stars, it's super easy.
Yeah, and if you don't have Rose, there are a bunch of characters that can still get it done quickly. Like, I don't have Rose,
Trunks
and I used the future Trunks, the transforming purple one.
Yep, he's also good.
Beat the crap out of his Goku. It took like 20 seconds to win. So, and I queued with the merge Zamasu, so it's not like
he's
the
also
other
really
was
good.
carrying me. So.
Yep.
I just wish normal co-op had, like, maybe not as good as rewards as raid, but just better rewards. I think I was talking about this with Pomzor earlier, but like, the reason nobody wants to play co-op, well, yeah, number one, it's boring, but number two, the rewards really, like, aren't worth it, to me at least. And I think when you look at a raid, like this type of raid where the rewards are actually worth it, it makes people want to play it. So I just wish co-op had better rewards.
Yeah, because I mean, the raid is pretty much co-op, so people are just grinding it because you can get easy and quicker rewards. So I guess they have a blueprint for making co-op a little better without having to invest too many dev resources. They're just not doing it.
I think it's taken a back burner to this new mode,
Probably.
which I really hope is good.
I think it's okay because I want them to invest resources into the new mode to make it good. If I'm looking at my battle plan, the battle plan, the Battle Lovers one has one mission or a couple of missions like play 30 times co-op. My battle plan is going to end, I think, on Thursday, and I have 0 out of 30. I think it's going to keep that way.
Yeah, I pick that same battle plan and I always get it to 7 without doing any co-op. Because thankfully there's some there's room for not doing some of the missions and doing all the other ones, and you still get everything, right? So
Exactly.
I never do the co-op. It's so awful.
It speaks volumes that I don't hear any positive things about co-op. I think I saw Rhyme do like a freaking video a long time ago where they used weird units and played with friends, but that's like reaching, trying to make it fun. Like, nobody enjoys co-op, and they keep shoving it in our face saying, hey, you want to get all the rewards from this event? Make sure you do 30 more co-op.
Thank you.
Do you like the Bulma missions that make you do it?
Yeah, the Bulma missions make you do it. The Super Saiyan 3 Goku missions make you do it, I think.
Yeah, I think the only thing that bugs me really a lot about co-op is the fact that in the video where they introduced co-op, they're like, oh, we have plans to do this and that, and we're going to release units that do super attacks together. It's going to be really great. And then like a year and a half later, we still don't have anything.
Yeah, the only
Same
thing
for
they
the
added was the
Guild
Golden
update.
Rising Rush.
They did some.
Isn't there
they
one
added
unit that buffs something with has something to do with co-op?
Well,
Which
yeah,
unit is that?
Broly. The Broly Chi-Lai
LF
unit
Frieza.
has special buffs that are like for your buddy, is how it's worded in his kit.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's like 2 or 3 of those. But
But
that's
they,
it.
but
they
that-
pretty much abandoned
That's a line
that
of
too.
code they add in that takes like 4 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably
So
they even have like a UI where the product manager or whoever designs the unit can just have like a couple of drop downs and select the buffs for you allies, for party members, for buddy, whatever.
Yeah.
Now imagine if they had custom animate, kind of what Gresh was kind of saying. Like, imagine if they had custom animations for co-op. I think that would actually be kind of cool.
Yeah, like if you're Goku
yeah.
and Vegeta and you do the attack together, it does that panoramic camera of them doing like the Gallic Gun and Kamehameha at the same time or whatever, right? Like,
Yeah, that would be awesome. And then like depending on like the combination of characters being used, like maybe there's different animations for like different combinations and whatnot. They have a lot to build off with that if they really wanted to.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Again, I
they
think
can do a lot with co-op.
their team is small, and they've devoted everybody to this new mode, and they've kind of just set
Yeah.
co-op off to the side.
Well,
Yeah, I agree.
Even if they add some fancy animations, like, is co-op still gonna be fun after that? Like,
I mean,
I think you're gonna get bored of
I would
it.
agree with you, but it's been a year and a half.
Yeah. Well, it just shows more signs that they've abandoned it as opposed to
Yeah,
anything else.
I agree. Yeah, I don't think they care.
And to answer Prof's question, I think new animations could definitely help like bring some liveliness to the mode. But then you look at, like maybe 2-3 months later, everybody's bored of the animations, and maybe it goes back to being boring again. But I don't know, maybe I just want to see some fresh stuff. Like anything fresh in that mode would help revive it, in my opinion, at least a little bit.
I think the only thing it needs is an auto button. If you're real with yourself, the co-op doesn't change, the boss doesn't change, your units don't change. You blow up the shield, you hit the Rising Rush button, you win the fight, you rinse and you repeat. Every single time. If I just had to,
Yeah.
casually pay attention to my device and keep re-entering co-op, my partner's not going to be able to tell. You could easily have it to where it's not going to Rising Rush unless it sees that both allies have it, and then the AIs will rush together, right? I just, if you want a time sink for me to stay and play Legends and just keep doing co-op, then we already see it in single player mode. Just add that stupid auto button. I don't see a negative for it. It's not like this is like a MMO raid where if I'm being played by a bot, I'm not going to heal the right allies and everything's going to fall apart. It's co-op. As long as I brought a competent unit with a proper bench, I'm going to do fine.
Yeah,
The problem
and I'm
they
right
have
there
with,
with you. I'm not too satisfied with co-op these days either.
I think the problem they have with like stuff like auto buttons and rematch buttons in co-op is the fact that it will just let auto clickers just run like havoc on that mode, because people will just have their phones on overnight
For
using their
guilds.
auto clickers, which they actually can't detect, and then it would just play like whenever, like through 8 hours of you sleeping at night by itself, getting rewards for you. That's not what they want.
It already does that. I'm not trying to advertise that to everybody else in chat, but I am fully aware of a few methods of having it auto-click your co-op, so when raids show up, people just set their phone automatically to do this
Yeah,
for
I
them.
had that.
That's
but it's
already
not as
been
easy,
done.
right?
I did that once.
No, it's extremely. I'll just screw it. There are apps right now you can download for your phone that will record keystrokes that you do on your device. So you literally just put one for every card for the enter button, and you set it on a loop, and it just keeps pressing all the buttons. It doesn't have to be correct, and it automatically takes you in.
Yep.
I know dozens of people that are already doing this. It is a joke, and you can send the script to your friend. It is
Yeah,
a
you
joke.
just need to adjust a little bit based on the screen size. But yeah, we did that when we were still grinding hard for guilds. Or just I had a macro which just resets my 1 hour adventures at night. That's how I hated my phone. It's like
It's really easy. It can be community driven at this point. So let's go ahead and rip the band-aid off and make it better for everybody with one stroke. It's in the game. Just let me hit the button. Like, I'm still going to have to queue in. I would say 99% of the community is still going to do everything they're supposed to be doing legitimately. And that 1% that's ruining PvP and modding their APKs, they're going to keep doing it, and maybe they'll find a way to see it. But
I think they just don't do that intentionally. Like the same reason they're intentionally not adding a rematch button in co-op, like with your buddy. Like they.
Well,
want
I
you
think
to
they're worried about what
suffer
Dresh is
through it.
worried about. It would be super easy at that point to just set up an auto clicker. Like, it's not quite the days like I've set up air quotes macros before with quite literally taping down one of the buttons on my keyboard so I could do something, right? It's not that kind of level of easy.
MacGyver.
But, yeah, well, I mean, there's a few situations where you do those in MMOs, but that's a different conversation. I think that the people that are going to cheat are already doing it. They're already doing it effectively. And the people that are going to suffer from it are already going to suffer. So why not just make it easier for everybody? Like,
Just take out co-op
I think, Gresh,
altogether.
you mentioned about farming link levels, right? You just kind of sit casually while you're watching a movie farming link levels. That could be
Yeah.
co-op in
Let's
Legends.
just-
We could casually re-enter co-op, farm the crap out of it. Co-op would be lively because you're always seeing people re-queue because people are just hitting the auto button, right?
Yeah.
And then
We
you
use
get
the
rained
same
on
I
by
can see
analogy
that
as
argument.
Prof.
Same for Rush.
Instead of-
Yeah.
Instead of saying rip the band-aid off, let's just pull a Piccolo and rip the entire arm off and just get rid of co-op altogether.
And
Well,
just
I
grow a new
think
one?
co-op, if you're looking for, because there's people that like grinding. It's not my cup of tea, but we're playing a gacha game, and I would say, at least half the community enjoys it, even though we're the loud voices that are saying that sucks, right? So if you make it easier for them, I don't see who loses, unless Bandai could really say, no, there really is only about 0.5% of people that are willing to use macros. Like it would become an indefinite problem if we give them an auto button, but unless that argument can be made, I think it's about time to just let it play itself.
They're not going to scrap co-op because they put a lot of work into it. There's a foundation for a good mode there. It's just they have to put more work into it.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean,
And then I think we're back to the argument they just need to keep it fresh. It's like they can keep the mode around, but they need to be just kind of trying doing their best to keep it fresh.
just
I like
like
how
you mean
Which
just
probably isn't easy.
In the interview for co-op, Toshi was like, we don't just want to make every opponent dark type and it's the same thing every time. Well, A, right now it is the same thing every time, and B, there hasn't even been a single dark type enemy. Maybe they should do at least one. It would be kind of interesting.
Well, the last co-op, I think that was because now, like when Android 21 first came out before Zenkai, and I think Yellow Vegeta had a moment like this too, where some of the kits we have on units, especially when you have two allies, you can just stack debuffs out the rear, So they started making bosses start having gimmicks where they wipe the buffs off themselves, and they could do more of that. It's just, I personally, I like the Dark Boss because then you can run any you want versus the boss, right? Makes it kind of a little more exciting. I'm not worried about color. But I don't know, man. They've got to have it do mechanics or stuff that only the boss can do. Like they already have it where it has the shield knockback. I've already said that they could have timed events like after 20 timer counts, the boss is going to do a huge nuke on the screen that you can't dodge and stuff like that. But we'd have to see.
Co-op.
in a nutshell. I think those
RIP.
were fine closing words. And since we have discussed quite a long time, we're going to end the podcast here. I hope that you all had a good time. First of all, thank you DFree for coming over here. Make sure to check out DFree on YouTube. I think he's an up and coming YouTuber. Help him get to 1,000 subscribers. Let's go.
Before we
missed a
do
couple
end,
zeros
do
there.
we want to spend any time talking about the previews for the new game mode at all, or just want to wait until it's out so that we can?
I'd say
I
let's.
think we might as well wait till it's out.
Yeah.
But the one thing just to mention is that they did mention in the news that this is going to be a pre-season, sort of a beta test for it. So don't be surprised if they do this season and then the next season they change a fair amount of what happened in case they decide that something needs to be adjusted or whatever. So
Yeah, like I do have the little pictures up here, but it's like,
yeah, I mean it's not really much to say about it. We already knew most of this coming into it.
Yeah.
The one thing
It's
I
gonna be
did
a
like to
beta
see
like
about
that
this,
one PvP mode. We're never gonna see it again.
yeah.
Oh no.
The one thing I did like to see was the fact that they kind of mentioned that there is going to be a leaderboard. It's going to be somewhat competitive. We don't really know how competitive it's going to be, but I think just the fact of having a general leaderboard that people can, see their rankings and whatnot, I think it's going to be definitely a cool addition to the game. I'm pretty excited for it.
You just note that there's also going to be a form of stamina or energy associated with this. You can't spam it indefinitely like PvP.
yeah, it's got TP points, right?
Yep,
the Tournament of
Tournament of
Power,
Power.
stamina,
Yeah.
or
Yeah,
something like that.
right.
Interesting.
I want to know how this positioning affects anything. Like, what's the significance of having Red Frieza and Shout in the front, then Kefla and Super Saiyan Blue Goku in the mid, and then
Find out after these
Bergamo and
messages.
Super Saiyan Blue
Can
Vegeta in
I-
the back? Like,
I really hope this Tournament of Power energy is not on a timer like our current energy system, and it's like a daily thing where you get
Like
like
10 a
3
day or
runs
something?
day, and you have to have a maximum.
I think
runs.
it will be
Yeah.
a timer. I think it will be a timer.
Yeah, it's most likely gonna be a timer, but it might be a longer cooldown. Who
Yeah,
knows?
we shall
what do
see.
you
Maybe
get,
you'll
one
get
energy
a
every,
maximum of
18
like 10
minutes
tries a
in
day or
Legends?
something.
My issue is it has a leaderboard, right? And now we're going to be pressured to constantly make sure you keep that timer at 0. Not 0, the energy at 0,
Well, that also is them adding more frustration mechanics to the game and, making you have to log in more often,
Yep.
which is something that they
aim for.
probably wouldn't admit to, but these games are designed to do, so I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
remember when we had 3-minute adventures? I do.
God, I hate that so much. And that wasn't when we had auto redeploy either. You
Oh,
went and
shit,
clicked
yeah,
those suckers.
true.
You went and clicked. Honestly, 3-minute adventures right now
do them.
wouldn't be that bad.
I would do them.
You'd go into PvP, you'd win, lose, whatever, go out, reset adventures.
Exactly.
And if you sit down and play for an hour or so, you could probably get some fat rewards. I think that's what they were originally designing. But, oh, man.
Okay, I think
I just hope AutoCell comes soon.
before we digress, I think we'll probably be able to talk about the new mode soonish. I have no idea. I think
Next week.
Yeah, next week.
Yeah, it
maybe.
comes
Should
out
be
on
out
the
next
24th,
update.
I think.
So yeah, let's see
Yes,
that.
this will be out this week.
The
yes.
big update is coming on Wednesday. Exactly. Is it 3.0?
Yeah, 3.0 is, again,
So it's a
that's the
major-
update that they're coming out with. If you guys remember, 2.0 was a pretty big
Yeah, I
update
mean,
to the
for-
game. So
For those
2.0 came with battle system changes, right? That was
Yep.
the
That was
tactical-
2.0
co-op,
was
too.
the red stars in Zenkai.
Yeah. So for those who
Oh,
are not
God.
familiar with how those version numbers work, you usually have like a major, minor, and then like a fixed number. So 2.1.0, and if they update from 2 to 3, that means that's like a huge change. Where it can be that there's no backwards compatibility. There's like whole new stuff implemented, other stuff getting kicked out, and then something like a battle system tweak could be like a 2.1 to 2.2. So this is going to be big.
I would anticipate this being a game-changing update.
Yep.
Maybe not everything's going to be released right when this update goes live next week, but
The foundations
within the
will
few,
be there.
yeah, within a few weeks after this update goes live, they might release some crazy stuff.
They'll probably
so.
deploy most of the stuff they need, and also just load test it, see how the game behaves with all the stuff in there, and then go from there.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Legends, y'all. It might be time to get a little bit excited because there might be some big activity spikes going on in this game.
Danger doping. All right, and with that said, we hope you had a good time. Thank you everybody for hanging out. Thank you for the subs as well, and yeah, we hope to see you next week. We will premiere this podcast over on YouTube in about 24 hours. Make sure to check out our link tree to see all our other social media presences. Follow us on Twitter for updates. Join our Discord, our Reddit, our Facebook, and whatever else social media you're on. Again, thanks DFree for being here. Really appreciated it. Hashtag Krillin it in the chat. Anything you guys want to say?
Just to add to what you were just saying, Edwin Sesh, 4 months with Prime. We appreciate you, dog, for the sub. Abu raided about 48 minutes ago. We appreciate you for that. Goku Black subscribed 4 months at tier 1. We appreciate you for that, dog. And DT9, 4 months at tier 1 as well. So thank y'all for the support. It's maximum appreciation.
All right, and with that said,
Yeah, and I was going to say,
Yeah.
thanks for having me on. And whenever you guys want me on, I'm here. So don't be afraid to ask.
Yeah, we
Sure
love
will
having
do.
you, bro. You, everybody. Make a big old family out of this right here. So.
Yeah, definitely.
all righty then. Take care, everybody. Have a good rest of your day, and for those who are watching, enjoy AOT. Bye, guys.
Yep. We'll see you in the
See
next
ya.
one.